All right, I hope you're all as excited as this student right here who's getting ready to learn about some amazing tech tools. All right, so I'm going to jump over to the team. The first thing is the shortcuts in grid view. So you probably know that there's a grid view. This is the grid view to kind of view all your teams, but there's also a list view. And this can be modified by going to your global settings in your global team settings here. But so in the grid view, you have these little shortcuts for each team. And the first shortcut will take you to the posts area, which is essentially the landing page. So the first link takes you basically to posts. The second link takes you directly to your assignments for that class. So if I click on the backpack, it's going to jump right to my assignments area of this team. So that's handy. And then the last one is classwork. So if any of you use classwork to build out modules for longer units, this takes you directly to your classwork area. All right, so those are the shortcuts in grid view. The next new feature is the ability to rename the general channel. How many of you have been wanting to do that forever? Yeah, as you know, general is the default channel you get with any team that you create, but we've never been able to rename that. So now you can do it. So I know what I recommend to teachers is to use your general channel as a place to post announcements to your students and provide general information about the course or the class. And the other thing we always recommend is to manage your channel and make sure it's set so only owners can post messages. What this does is that only you as an owner of the team can post the messages and start new conversations. Your students won't be able to start new conversations, but they can reply to your posts. Now, to change the name, you're going to go click into the menu of General and go to Edit Channel. And here you can change the name. So I'll call this Announcements. That's what I would prefer, but you can name it whatever you want, and I'll save. And boom, shakalaka. Now it's called Announcements. I don't know why, but that's so exciting to have that new feature. All right, the next one is resize the left rail. So the left rail is this sidebar with all of your navigation links to all the areas in your team. You can now resize this. You just move your mouse to the separator and you can drag to the right if you want it to be wider, or you can drag all the way to the left if you want to maximize your workspace. To open it back up, just click over here. You can double click it or click and drag. All right, so that is the left rail resize option. The next feature is the tips light bulb. Now, this light bulb pops up in certain areas of your team. So for example, if I'm in assignments here, and maybe I want to learn about the new features of assignments, you can go over to the light bulb up here in the top right, and this will open up a sidebar with tips and training and all kinds of information. So we have things in here like use Reading Coach for independent reading practice. Try it now. We have rubrics with AI, assignment instructions with AI. And so we have all of these different features that you can learn about right in here. And if you want, you can also filter these. So at the top, we have tips, we have training, we have what's new. And so you might want to go in here and look at one. So, I want to learn about math progress. You can click Learn More, and you'll be taken to a site, a Microsoft site that gives you information and steps to get started with that. So that is the tips light bulb. And if you see a red dot on it, that means there's new posts within that sidebar. All right, the next new feature is editing keyboard shortcuts. So there are ones specific to use when you're within your team. To bring up the shortcuts to see what they are, you press Control period on your keyboard, and boom shakalaka, they all come up. So this explains to you what Control period does, Control E, etc. And what's new this has been around, but what's new is you can now edit your shortcuts. So you can click on the pencil and you can type in the keystroke that you want to modify the shortcut. So that is there. That's another newbie. The next one is the rubric designer. So I'm going to go to my assignments and create new. And so I'm going through here, right? I'm building out my assignment, and I want to use a rubric. So I can go here to add rubric, and you can see here my saved rubrics, right? When you create them, they'll be saved here within Teams, and you can reuse them. Now, you can also upload an existing rubric that's been there. You can create one from scratch. We've had that. The new feature here is create rubric using AI. So we can go in here and specify what's our grade level, what's our language. We can provide a title. So I'm going to call this a group project rubric. And I've got a prompt, a rubric that evaluates a group project, which centers on the collaboration, problem solving, and overall cohesiveness demonstrated by the team members. So I'll paste that in, and I'll hit next. Here I can choose a rubric scale. So we have 4 options here. I'm going to stick with excellent, good, fair, poor. And you can type in criteria that you want added to the rubric, but they have suggestions down here already. So collaboration effectiveness, yeah, that sounds good. Problem solving skills, yeah. Team cohesiveness, sure. And we can add new here if we want to add our own. And then we'll click on generate. And the magic is happening, and boom shakalaka, it's already done. Now, the nice thing about this is you can read through these and you can modify them if you want. So if you want to change the language a little bit, you can make those adjustments. And then when you're done, you can click attach to your assignment. Over here, if you want to make modifications, it's really kind of what you started with, but there you can change the length of it here if you want it expanded. You could choose that and then regenerate. I'll go ahead and attach it so we have it saved. All right, so that is the new rubric generator feature. The next piece we have is, drum roll please, improved feedback field. So in this one, I need to pull up an existing assignment. And so let's say I'm reviewing student work. I'll go ahead and click into the assignment. And there's the student. We'll go ahead and pull up his work. Happens to be Matthew, so I hope he's not offended by any of this or embarrassed. But here, the new feature here is in your feedback. So you can provide feedback as usual. But what's new is you now have a formatting toolbar. So you can use some formatting options. You can do a bulleted list. Also, you have this expand button. So we can expand it and utilize more space. And as you type, this will also grow and expand. So you can get plenty of room to write up your feedback. And something else I like to share is I like to recommend the speech to text in Windows, which is Windows key plus H. Windows key plus H will bring up the microphone. Matthew, I love how you found some wonderful websites to support you in your research project. So you can quickly bring up the mic, utilize speech to text to provide your feedback. That can save you some time unless you're a super fast typer. I'm not as fast at typing, so this is a cool feature built right into Windows. So again, it's the Windows key plus the H key. And you can bring that up anytime you're in a field that inputs text. All right. So that is the feedback field. Now, the last thing I want to show is the add loop components. So you do this in a channel. I'm going to go ahead and put it in, well, I'll put it in announcements for now. This works in any channel. So up at the top, we have posts, files, and now we have page. Click into page and we see loop component. Now, loop components are kind of like, the best way to describe it, does anyone here remember wiki pages where you can make a page, share it with people, and everyone can go in and add content to it? That's basically what it is. It's a wiki page. They call them loops. The cool thing about this is they have templates. So down here at the bottom, we can do a table, a bulleted list, a checklist, tasks, voting table, numbered list, Q&A, etc. I'm going to do a table. So I'm going to select table. Quickly creates a nice table for me. I can name it up here. And this is going to be, we're going to talk about the new features you just saw. And then we're going to have two questions. Column 1, the question's going to be, what new feature resonated with you? And then column 2, I want you to answer, what new feature would you like to see? Now, you can all go in here. You all have access to it. So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to come in here and share your ideas. If someone's already taken up the first 2 lines, you can click new and start a new line. And you can see when someone else is already in a row and already typing, right? So we have Victoria's already in the first row. So we don't want to take over Victoria's. Awesome. So it looks, I'll go ahead and add more rows. But if you run out, just click new at the bottom. All right, we got a lot of cool stuff coming in here. We got creating rubrics, the shortcuts in grid view, keyboard shortcuts and the new loop thing, creating rubrics, reading progress, and then features I'd like to see, how to give students the opportunity to retake a read after giving feedback in reading progress without having to reassign it.